I'm checking the sound right now. It's extremely important in my opinion because sometimes I don't know, it's YouTube, or it's my mic, it's a connection, whatever, but sound is pretty crazy. That's why before we're gonna talk about Aubrey O'Day and what she said about Diddy. Actually, I wanted to particularly talk about Aubrey O'Day because she was the one of not many people actually, who said bad stuff about Diddy years ago. So sound is good. Uh, Years ago, I watched a video. I think it was her interview with Breakfast Club. Probably I watched it like 10 years ago, 9 years ago. And Aubrey actually said bad stuff about Diddy. When Diddy was a king, when he was this mogul, a guy who's nobody wanna even deal with, mess with. Aubrey said on the stuff that he was not a good mentor for her and for the girls in her girl band, Danica Kane, it's called. And now she shares more details. Of course, back in the day, I think it was pretty scary to share this type of details about this important person, powerful Diddy producer who actually last 10 years we haven't seen Diddy in the spotlight much, but he was the one behind Justin Bieber or Rise of Usher years ago. So Diddy is really, really powerful guy in this industry. So I can only imagine how scary it was for some people to talk about him when it wasn't like a mainstream thing. Now it's everybody can talk. Now it's everybody blaming him for everything. But before, only Aubrey O'Day said that he's not a good person and she doesn't have any relationship with him. Uh, Now she claims that not only he was behaving super weird, and she assumed that he's on drugs. He was on drugs at least. But also he said one thing publicly he was criticizing her, and privately he was saying other things. He was trying to groom her, and Aubrey shared all these details, and I understand. It's crazy what was going on behind the scenes. If a guy like Diddy was basically ruling the industry, controlling the musical industry, he was main producer on making the band back in the beginning of the 2000s. He was controlling destiny of huge pop stars like Usher or Justin Bieber. And I'm like, what was going on behind the scenes? I can only imagine. And hello, Berenice. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Uh, so Aubrey shared all these details, and she actually said, I don't know who was even talking to, who was sober. There's always an element of something going on. Of course, I mean, now we know all the details, what Diddy did to people. Like one of my friends said, Diddy did it. Yes, definitely, he did it. And he was drugging people. He was drugging his old girlfriend, Cassie, and made her have sex with prostitutes, according to her, allegedly. So, of course, he wasn't sober. Uh, and I never heard anything bad or good about Diddy from other contestants of Making the Band, other members of Danica Kane, except Aubrey O'Day, and hopefully nothing wrong happened to them. Maybe we'll hear more news about that period later. Aubrey said that Diddy dictated her appearance down to the most minute of details. She said he's on camera saying how much he hates it. Then he's off camera telling me all the ways that I needed to be groomed properly, like down to my toenails. So, I mean, I understand that Diddy, maybe he was a perfectionist, but Aubrey, I don't know, somehow, some way didn't feel right around him. And she explains, I was sent out of a studio session one time because my toes weren't polished properly. Yeah, I think it's a little bit too much. She claims it was abuse. I agree with her, even though I heard a lot of stories about music industry in the 90s, in 2000s, beginning of 2000s. Like, these producers were harsh on these bands and contestants of these bands. But I think it's a little bit too much when Diddy sent her out of the studio. I think he was trying to shame her. And also, Aubrey says that Diddy called her the looker of the band, and alleged grooming was part of his alleged cycle of abuse. After coming off of Diddy, there's not many people you can go into a room with and get that type of high from. Grooming is a process. They don't just abuse you on day one. They make you feel like you get little bits of things that make you attracted and excited by, and then once they've got your attention, they let you know about yourself in different ways. So I see what she's saying, but I cannot judge Diddy's behavior because the guy Diddy reminds me of Aaron Hernandez. I think it's some TV show premiere, this limited series premiere about him. He was a football player who committed suicide in prison, and he also had this crazy behavior. One time he was with a girl, next time he claimed he gay, he killed people, and also because he was one of the stars of NFL, one of the stars of college football. Everybody knew about this crazy behavior of his, but everyone was closing their eyes on him. Same what happened with Diddy. Don't you think that a lot of these music executives knew what's going on behind the scenes? I mean, there were tons of parties where every one of the celebrities attended, including Justin Bieber, including Leo DiCaprio, who was talking about that yesterday. Yesterday I made a video about it when Leo was talking about, no, I have nothing to do with Diddy, even though Diddy claimed years ago that Leo was #1 on his guest list. And right now, yeah, everybody's saying, yeah, either one group of people saying like we don't know what's going on, like we never heard anything bad happening at his parties, and the other group of people actually claiming that was crazy things were going on. And one rapper actually came out and told Daily Mail that he saw some rappers, well-known rappers. He didn't want to say names, probably afraid of a lawsuit, but well-known rappers were having sex and using drugs, and it's really crazy. Yeah. I think it's a TV show called, I think Gladiator is the name. Maybe it was a project name. They filmed here in New York about Aaron Hernandez. So Ryan Murphy is a producer of that. So it should be a good TV show. And when I heard about it, I immediately went to Wikipedia and read about Hernandez. Yeah, it really reminds me of Diddy's story, Aaron Hernandez story. She also continues, Aubrey says, it's like the military. They break you down and build you back up into the soldier. They need you to be for the country. They need you to be fighting for. Asked about her thoughts on Diddy's high-profile sex trafficking arrest amid claims the musician hosted freak-off sex parties, she said, oh, I don't think I'm at that point yet. I've got to see how it plays out. Interesting comment, right? So she basically said, Aubrey basically says that I don't want to comment on that yet. I know some details I want to share with you, but I don't want to say that right now because I'm scared for my life. I'm scared for my life. I think there's plenty of high-profile celebrities, high-profile, maybe even politicians or millionaires, billionaires that we know of that been to his parties. We all know that Prince Andrew, he's a brother of King Charles. He was at Epstein's Island doing crazy things with little girls, and nobody's even talking about that now. His family paid money to the victims, and now he's not under lawsuit or anything like that. So everyone forgot about it. But this is a huge scandal. Member of royal family, basically a pedophile allegedly. So it's a huge, but we see like all these minor issues in the news. They're trying to distract us from what's going on behind the scenes here. She also says, Aubrey also says, that's going to be real. That's going to allow the opportunity for everyone to start talking about what you know personally as my friend is going through. I can talk about that though. She's afraid. So Aubrey O'Day, this high-profile celebrity that probably has like a million, maybe more than a million of followers on Instagram, is afraid. Talk about Diddy's bodies. So, I mean, judging by her words, it's real. Definitely was something was going on at this parties, and something crazy was going on. But she doesn't want to even talk about it. Doesn't want to even mention it. It's really scary, actually. That's what was going on in these parties. That Aubrey O'Day doesn't even want to mention them. Doesn't want to even talk about them. She said, "Right now I'm dealing with put downs and the commentary and whatever. I'm saying what I can." She's saying what she can. And what was obvious to the world and what everyone already saw, nothing new. And then I think as this progresses, I pray that people will find freedom and get more clarity on their stories, because victims can talk to victims. Even that cannot happen now. She believes there are way more victims. There's a lot more crazy stuff. She says shit, actually. As this unfolds, more people will be heard. Yeah, this is crazy and scary to me, because she definitely knows the truth, what was going on, and the way she handles herself, the way she behaves, knowing this. So it was probably normal in the music industry to have this type of parties, to have this abusive behavior, to rape people, you know? Probably that was normal if people can talk about it openly, as Aubrey says. I don't want to even talk about it. I don't want to even touch it. But it was a crazy behavior, and we will know the truth. I hope we will know the truth. So we don't even know what's going on right now, even though we have so much information on Diddy and his crazy behavior and what's going on with him. But Aubrey, yeah, points at some stuff that we will know in the future. Earlier this month, O'Day revealed that she finally feels validated after years of speaking out against her former mentor Combs. That's what I've been saying to you, that Aubrey was probably the only one who was saying bad stuff about Diddy when Diddy was this powerful mogul and he opened revolt and did this crazy deals with Ciroc. Aubrey was the one who was talking about it. That's why I was curious what she's gonna say now. And I'm kind of shocked that Aubrey O'Day is scared to speak all the truth. So, again, the person with millions of followers on Instagram, maybe like more than a million, maybe around millions of followers on Instagram, afraid to speak about Diddy's parties, crazy parties, even though Diddy is in jail right now. So she's waiting. She doesn't even know. She doesn't believe probably that we will know all the details. And just a few days ago, somebody wrote a comment on my video, my live stream about Diddy, when I alleged that maybe Diddy will get like 7 to 10 years because of this law system and his good lawyer. She said, no, he'll get for life. And now Aubrey thinks the same way, which is interesting, right? In a post on X, Aubrey described the legal action as a win for women across the globe. The purpose of justice is to provide an ending and allow us the space to create a new chapter. Women never get this. I feel validated. Today is a win for women all over the world, not just me, she continued, adding, things are finally changing. And we experienced Me Too movement a few years ago, and people in the industry, in the entertainment industry, said before that things are changing. Now, it's probably changing again, I guess. But definitely it's great to see the truth coming out, that he's no longer doing this stuff. And I don't know how terrified was Cassie. She experienced that every day of her life. This abusive behavior, this crazy behavior, crazy parties. I mean, I don't think she liked it. Maybe she did. Who knows? But I don't think she liked it. And she wanted to run away from Diddy. But she couldn't. So what kind of monster Diddy was? He was terrifying so many women, so many people actually, who were afraid to speak against him. That's crazy. And In the early morning hours of Tuesday, she quoted a post from journalist Yashar Ali, in which he noted that O'Day has been trying to bring attention to Diddy's abusive nature and warn people that he is dangerous for years. He added that O'Day's courage led her to allegedly be bullied, terrorized, and threatened. O'Day claimed that Diddy did worse than that to me, though she didn't expand on her statement before thanking the journalist for sharing her story. So Aubrey says that Diddy did worse to her than just bullying, terrorizing, and threatening her. Yeah, it's a terrifying story, honestly. And I remember when we first heard about all these allegations against Diddy, some people were skeptical. And I remember I was watching Piers Morgan's show, and DJ Vlad came and said some stuff. Yeah, I saw Diddy, but I didn't see anything bad. How people who's like in the industry so much, that know people, and so many witnesses to this crazy behavior of Diddy, and nobody talked. The only person I heard talking negatively about Diddy was Aubrey O'Day. And allegedly, Diddy, like, we've been hearing these rumors for years now. Allegedly, Diddy was behind this conspiracy of killing Tupac. We don't know the truth, it's all alleged, but we heard tons of negotiations about that, and tons of conversations about that, and tons of investigations about that. So it seems like Diddy's just a terrible guy. But I wonder how many Diddy's right now in the industry doing absolutely fine, making some crazy stuff. And if O'Day, who's a celebrity, she's been in different reality shows, she definitely have an influence in the industry, at least a little bit. She's done a lot of interviews with different radio stations, TV channels. She says that Diddy did worse than that to me. What did he do it though? I mean, this is crazy. Later on Tuesday morning, O'Day sounded testy as she replied to an account that urged her to hurry up and speak. She claimed she had been focused on channels that were more likely to lead to action against the rapper rather than merely posting on social media. I chose to speak to people who could move justice in the way I needed to see it. I'd been speaking. Never underestimated that, she wrote. And also, people claim that Diddy was able to speak to family members and to his children while being in prison. And of course, they're saying that Diddy is very concerned about his kids, about his family. But I think after all this that I see, I'm not a judge, but what I see is crazy. And I think this guy needs to go to jail for a long time. That's my assumption. I don't see any, like, all evidence. I saw some, right? But this guy is a terrible human being. And I'm glad that people are talking about that. And it scares me to death, actually, what's going on and what was going on for years behind the scenes in this industry. Like, a lot of people are actually dreaming to be in the entertainment industry. But we know now it's even worse than we thought about it, right? And Aubrey O'Day doesn't even want to talk about it. Doesn't even want to mention any names. She knows the truth, of course. She knows more than she says. But she doesn't even want to. She's scared. So it's like a mob in the entertainment industry, unfortunately. And I see some evidence of that, right now. And it's so great, people underestimate this Me Too movement, but we all hear the stories. We all heard different rumors and stories what was going on in the entertainment industry for years about these casting couches. But as we know more and more truth about that, I think I'm only concerned about all these people who were going through that. And sometimes, let's be honest, some actors, doesn't matter female or male, okay to sleep with producers, casting directors, whoever, just to get a part, just to get a job, you know? And that's their choice, you know? It's not really normal when people do that for a job, but I think that's normal in like in our life. You know what I'm saying? So people do gonna do that probably forever. But when somebody's like actually drugging people, abusing them, making them do that, that's insane. That should be punished, and hopefully Diddy will be punished and go. I don't want to say for life, but maybe he deserves to go to jail for life. And now he claims that he's missing his children and it's not a good place to be, this jail in New York. It's really bad, and all the different people, they know Diddy, they want to hurt him because they're jealous of him or whatever. I don't think he deserves better treatment at this point. Again, let the court of law decide what's going to happen to Diddy in the future. But the guy, just like hearing all these stories, it's coming out more and more stories. Like the guy is crazy. Like I think that like my comparison Diddy to Aaron Hernandez, I think is pretty correct. I think something in Diddy's head is not right. Yeah, of course, money and power can change people, and people are different human beings when they getting all this attention and money and fame. It was also part of the problem. But I mean, tons of people getting money and fame, and not every one of them behaving this way like Diddy did. And again, I feel sorry for Aubrey, and hope we'll find out the truth one day, what he really did to her, to other members of Danity Kane, and what Aubrey decided not to talk about, because I think there's more to it. And I don't think that Diddy chose to manage the band, to create the show about making the band, because he was this guy who wanted to just share this fame to nice ladies or whatever. It was a trend to have the girl band. Maybe he had some motives to do that, and we will know the truth one day or another. Also, I wanted to talk about Danica Patrick. I mean, NASCAR legend. She publicly supported Donald Trump, and she said few words to her haters. She basically says that, I want to quote her, "You can leave if you want." And you know what? I think that she's right. It doesn't matter who you support. It's your choice. It's her choice. Why would you hate on that? Nobody knows what's going to happen in these elections. Maybe you will love Kamala Harris as a president. Maybe you will hate her as a president. Nobody knows. So why would you hate for somebody for choosing the other candidate? I don't understand that. And she's brave. I know a lot of people in the industry, in the team in the industry, who privately support Donald Trump, but they're afraid of talking about it. So it's a woman who decided to talk about it openly. And she's not afraid of these critics saying like, "Oh, we hate you because you supported him." Now she's Formula One analyst. So I think in a way she's risking her job, because people watching TV, and if people don't like what they see, or they have a lot of complaints about this analyst or this commentator, networks have, like, in a way, like in a second, they can remove them. So Danica actually made a move I can respect. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I definitely can respect that. And she's actually been in a Trump team for a while. She was doing interviews with Tucker Carlson. She was in a panel on his Reclaim America tour. She was in the panel moderated by Tulsi Gabbard, Robert Kennedy, and she's openly talking about that. And I think we need to stop hating on people who openly support some candidates. I think it's not right. She said, "Look, how far I have come since attending in December. My sister," basically she said, like, "If you don't like it, just don't look at my account, don't follow me." And I think it's fair. I think it's fair. And also, I wanted to talk about Crazy Town singer Shifty. His cause of death revealed, and it's not surprised that it was from drug overdose. I cannot understand this type of people. He had problems with drugs before. He had issues, health issues, because of drugs before, and he still was doing them. I mean, he caused this death on him. I knew right away when I read about Shifty and his on his Wikipedia page that this guy has some major issues in his life that probably cause of death gonna be revealed pretty soon, and we will know that he was overusing drugs. And medical examiner said that the star death of the star as the effects of cause of the death of the cause of death for the star as the effects of fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine. Methamphetamine. Oh, I don't know these drugs except cocaine. I've never tried drugs in my life, so so for me it's hard to understand these people who doing drugs, who's using these drugs on a regular basis. For me, it's like I don't understand that. But you know, even the Star's manager, the Shifty's manager, his name is Howie Haberman, said that he wasn't surprised at all by the cause of death. I wasn't surprised by that as well. I thought that Shifty, because when I heard about his death, I wasn't a huge fan of Crazy Town, but I heard some of their songs, and Butterfly was a huge hit in the beginning of 2000s, I think. But I read his Wikipedia page, and on his Wikipedia page, the author said that he was doing drugs like crazy, had some health issues, and when he died, of course, I was like, probably it was because of drugs. It was normal to just basically think that that was the reason of his death. And also, his manager said he was combining street drugs with anything that he could get, and some of them were prescription too, like some of them like prescription too. He had gone through detox so many times and rehab so many times. It was just the system was not set up to help a guy like him. Period. Had 2 or 3 prescriptions that he was able to fill at all times as long as he had the money, and then he would grab anything off the street he could get. It's crazy behavior by a person, right? I feel sorry for him, really sorry. I feel sorry for all of these people who is doing drugs and cannot stop. I think this is like disease, scary disease, and yeah, people doing it on themselves. I mean, the guy was famous at some point of life, and I think he still had money because he was touring, and he could have lived his best life, enjoy everything the world can give it to you. But he chose drugs. Then people are like, "Oh my God, this guy is dead," but he caused that on himself. I know, it was popular in the rock industry among rock musicians, and Crazy Town was, I think, had elements of rock music, had elements of hip hop music, but I think it was normal in the rock industry to take drugs. At some point, some musicians were taking drugs on stage. It was normal. I remember the days when Eminem was taking drugs on stage, even though he wasn't a rock artist. Obviously, he was a rap artist, but it was normal at some point of our life. So maybe it wasn't his fault in the begin with, but he didn't have any willpower to actually stop using drugs, which is crazy to me. Like, you had so many issues in your life when you were still using drugs. You still was basically at the point where it was like either you're dying or you stop using drugs. And Shifty chose to keep doing them. And of course, it wasn't surprised to hear that his actual cause of death was because he was doing a mix of drugs. He was mixing different drugs, and medical examiner found them in his system. Thank God we don't have this problem right now. I mean, obviously, a lot of people doing drugs, unfortunately, but at least we don't have rock musicians taking drugs on stage or making it seem like it's normal to take drugs. It was during the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Now in 2024, thank God it's not happening. So I'm happy that people actually like uh, musicians like Taylor Swift, who's not doing anything. Like she lives with her cats and basically have this propaganda of a normal lifestyle. I'm glad because of course, if you're like 25, 30 and you know what's going on in life, it's okay for you. But like some teenagers, they don't understand that it's not normal to do drugs. And how many tragical accidents with a lot of rock musicians or rap musicians we heard over the years because of drugs. But some people just don't want to stop, I think. So that was meant to be for Shifty. Unfortunately, rest in peace. And the last topic I want to talk about is J-Lo and Ben Affleck. They cannot sell their house that they bought together. Last minute, a buyer decided not to buy their house. I think it's a problem because now it's a problem with listing it over again. It's some documents problems after it. And they definitely divorcing. We don't know the exact reason, but all we heard that Ben Affleck decided to divorce J-Lo because she was sharing too many public details about their couple. And he said it's not good for him, for his, I don't know, for his situation. I think he decided not to go with this marriage anymore because Ben Affleck tries to live his life private. He doesn't want to share any details of his private life. We don't know much about what's going on with him when he was married to Jennifer Gardner. But that's why I'm curious why he decided to marry J-Lo, who's famous because she puts a lot of her life to public. That's her thing. She's the one who's doing that almost all the time. And Ben Affleck, who's basically openly said that I made a mistake 20 years ago when I divorced J-Lo, now allegedly claims that no, it was too much. It was too much of her private life put out to public, and she shared too many details. She shared his private letters, love letters that Ben sent to J-Lo. He said, no, it was too much. Okay, but like you knew what you signed in for. I don't care if J-Lo promised you then that she's gonna change. I don't care about that. Why? Why would she change? She's still a singer. She's still an actress. She's a public figure. Why wouldn't she put her private life? I mean, she knows how to make money, obviously, and she keeps doing that. So I think her romance with Ben Affleck, 20 years after, made so much public interest. So she decided to make some money on that. And when she made this documentary, I don't know what they were talking about. Did she share any details of making it with Ben or what was happening behind the scenes? But obviously she wanted to share as much truth as possible. And Ben just couldn't handle it. Even though I I saw J-Lo once, and I even briefly talked to her. And I think she's a normal person, even though I heard a lot of people complaining about her character in the industry, so maybe there's some truth to that. But again, Ben knew exactly who he's marrying with. Because I understand if it was the first time for them being together or trying to be together, right? Start dating. But they were dating 20 years ago. And I personally heard the interview where Ben was saying that, you know what? I was with J-Lo and it was too much public attention. I didn't want that in my life. Now, years later, he decided that J-Lo changed or something changed, which is absolutely insane. You know? I mean, out of all the people, he chose J-Lo, who's putting a lot of her, I mean, look at her Instagram. She's putting a lot of her personal details, personal life to public. So out of all the people, he chose J-Lo. And I think that's her mistake as well. I don't know, maybe she had some feelings for him after all these years. She decided that Ben is such a nice guy. He seems like a family guy who can take care of his family, who can provide for his family. And he seems like a cool dad, this nice guy, has this nice vibes. Maybe she thought that it's a perfect father, stepdad for her kids, you know. Of course, Ben Affleck is famous. He's a celebrity. He has a lot of money. So maybe that's why she chose him. But other than that, I don't have any explanation why they decided to be together. I think they're two different people. They're completely different people. And now they divorce and they have so many issues. They met with this divorce lawyer, and according to different articles, I think they're still fine. They're still friends. They still talk to each other. But they understand that like they divorcing, and that was not meant to be. And again, I remember all these articles that I read. I remember all these interviews that I watched. Like J-Lo spoke about their relationship. Her mom was speaking about their relationship, and they said like, "Oh, it's the greatest love after all these years." They reconcile, and they understood they made such a big mistake. Now it's hilarious to hear that, because now it was a mistake. Now it was a mistake that you got married again. You two different people, like even emotionally. When you hear J Lo speak, she like speaks with passion and fire, and Ben Affleck is kind of like a sleepy guy, very calm, and he has this temper of a really really calm person. And I don't know, I don't know why they decided to marry each other, especially right now. I understand when it was 20 years ago, uh, they were still young and they were like thinking about maybe like hormones were thinking more than them. And right now, after all this experience that they had, they still made this terrible mistake. And right now they have issues because they didn't have prenuptial agreement. And because after the marriage, after they get married, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon created a production company. Now, technically, J Law can get a part of this company. It's a huge issue for Ben and Damon. Obviously, they don't want to. They don't want to deal with J Lo in this production company because she has nothing to do with it. So I think this is a huge issue for all of them right now. And first of all, why would you marry if you weren't sure about this relationship this time around? Why would you marry if you weren't sure that J-Lo cannot keep all these details private? And again, why would you marry somebody and don't have prenuptial agreement? That's all my questions, I think, because I think that what Ben did and what Ben does is really weird, really weird. I don't think, again, I'm going to say this again, I don't think he's the right choice for J-Lo. I think she needs to find somebody who's maybe less famous than her, that can, not like Britney Spears did with Sam Asghari or Kevin Federline, but somebody like who's has a high status, but maybe from a different industry, who knows? Because for Ben it was definitely too much, even though that he shared a lot of details of his and J-Law's walk through Times Square, and it was with love that he remembered that they were walking. People were like, "Oh wow, two of these great celebrities walking on Times Square without security guards or whatever," because they were in a rush. And Ben shared these details, and he was like sharing them with love and smile or whatever. But I think it was not a right choice for him too. So we're gonna follow all the details. What's gonna happen between them? Because in my opinion, things will not get ugly, but we will know more truth, especially with all these connections of J-Lo and Diddy. They were dating for a long time, and Diddy was the one who pushed J-Lo to this industry. Maybe it has something to do with their divorce. We will know more details as it will come, because this is going to be interesting. I'm sure it's going to be interesting with Diddy case and J-Lo's divorce. And of course, I'm going to tell them to you in the next live streams. And for today, this is it. Thank you for watching. Push the like button, subscribe to this channel. It helps the channel to grow, and let's grow together as a family because we are a family. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.